Um, Give us a second here, people. It's Marvel time again.
Well, we're almost through Marvel. You know what? Not worth it. Oh, I've used up my alcohol budget for the next 3 years because of this comic. And it still doesn't feel like it was enough. When we last left off, we discovered that duck-billed dinosaurs could talk, and that Bill Jemas believes in myths about humanity that have been disproven several times over the years, including the "we only use 10% of our brain" myth, and the "humans are the only creatures that kill members of their own species" garbage. Although, to be fair, if you had to read a continuous series featuring Al, Mickey, and Lucy, you would be pretty used to homicidal rages. We also learned that apparently we'd blow up the Earth or something if we were smarter. Also, dinosaurs died out because their spines didn't let them be warm enough, even though evidence suggests that a lot of dinosaurs were actually warm-blooded creatures. He also claimed that mammals have a rigid, inflexible spine that somehow keeps them warm. Bill Jemas must believe that cats are mythical creatures of legend. I'm sure there was a point to all of this, but the only thing I took from it was that Al was an idiot who didn't know the dinosaurs died off. And the only person dumber than Al was Bill Jemas when he was writing this nonsense and expecting us to take it seriously. Oh, but we're almost done, my friends, and if you thought the last issue was as bad as it got, well, remember how that issue ended. Let's dig into Marvel number 5. Our cover is a naked woman lying on a reflective surface. Would you expect anything less from this thing? Oh, but now it thinks it's still being a parody, because under Marvel it says Originville. Get it? Just like that comic, Wolverine Origins? And this comic features Wolverine prominently? And it's Originville instead of Origins? Do you get it? Do you get it? It's funny! Laugh! Laugh, damn you! And then stop laughing, because it isn't funny. You know, I think I may have had a few brain aneurysms while I've been reading this. Anywho, she's also holding one of Wolverine's claws, just in case we didn't get it. I mean, nothing else on the cover really has to do with Wolverine, so thank God that claw was there, or else I'd be confused. So, let's see how they screwed up the recap this time, shall we? Al drove his dad's time machine back in time from 5002 to 2002. What, don't you want to bring up that his parents were Ted Turner and Jane Fonda anymore? Or perhaps you're just afraid of lawsuits from Ted Turner's 5 actual children? Or perhaps bringing up Ted Turner and Jane Fonda and this was just idiotic to begin with. He makes friends with Mickey and Lucy and makes a ton of money in the crime-fighting business. Well, more like the crime-stumbling business, since usually it was the same guy who just kept tripping over and over, and then the kingpin they just kind of wandered into. Al is rich and famous, but he's far from happy. Well, that's because if he is famous, it's for being a colossal dumbass. In search of God and the meaning of life, Al, Lucy, and Mickey take the time machine back to the moment of creation where they meet Jack, who may or may not be God. But he is definitely a nudist considering he keeps stripping off his clothes. They all ride the time machine through... that's supposed to be through, not though. But this is Marville. I should be happy they're even able to form proper sentences. They all ride the time machine through millions of years of creation and wind up here in the company of the first human being. You can call him Wolverine. Now, some of you are probably looking back on issue 4 and now today's comic and thinking to yourselves, maybe this is all still a parody comic. I mean, Bill Jemas can't be serious when it comes to Wolverine being the first human being and evolving from an otter, right? Yeah, no, he's completely serious. I'm skipping ahead slightly, but at the end of issue 6 of Marville, he plainly states that he is absolutely freaking serious about his ideas presented in this comic about how he thinks God, the universe, and human beings work. I'll save some of the fun there for when we actually get to that issue, but yeah, make no mistakes, this is not a parody. We are gazing into the depths of insanity. Anyway, let's get into the story proper. We open at 100,000 BC with the time machine sitting in the middle of a forest. And right away, science gets punched in the face with that timestamp, since human civilization is estimated to have been around for at least 200,000 years, and in fact, there are remains that have been found in the Middle Awash region of Ethiopia from 160,000 years ago, not 100,000. Hey, Bill Jemas, don't take science lessons from the first episode of Doctor Who! Hell, with the 100,000 BC timestamp and the time machine in the first panel, it does kind of look like the ending shot of the first episode of Doctor Who! That's not a tribute, that's an insult! Doctor Who understands science better than Marville, and remember that Doctor Who is the show that thinks gamma rays are the same thing as lightning! Point is, no! Wolverine here is not the first human being, and we did not evolve from otters! Dear Lord, do you realize we have not even started this comic yet? Hey, aren't you Wolverine? First human? I thought you were supposed to be a mutant. That's right, bub. Okay, one, this guy barely looks like Wolverine. They've got the same hair color, but he doesn't have the same hairstyle. Wolverine usually wears a mask when doing his stuff anyway, and probably the most important thing of all, Wolverine is not an otter! Let me get this straight. Oh, why start now? Are you an X-Man or an... He's an X-otter. He's the first animal to mutate into a human. Okay, 1, no. 2, God, no. 3, that was a terrible pun. 4, no, no, no. 5, what the hell was Mickey trying to say before Lucy interrupted? He's an X-Man or what? An Avenger? An X-Force? What was your question, Mickey? And Wolverine runs out of the time machine, and we see that he has a loincloth on. Where the hell did he get that? Or does the time machine have some kind of clothes dispenser in it? That would explain where Al got his jacket from last issue. Mickey asks where he's going, and he just says, "Out, man!" Spoken like the first teenager. Teenager? What? Where's he going? He's a teenage boy. What? No, he isn't! Look at him! He's drawn exactly the same as the rest of the adults and has the standard superhero muscular structure. Hell, for a teenager, he's got a bit of a receding hairline there. He's either hungry or horny. And we see 4 cave girls running up, also in loincloth attire, while chasing after a buck. I would question why modesty is important to cavemen, but whatever. And just to emphasize the crappy sequential art combined with the awful puns, I was confused at first because Wolverine isn't in this last panel, implying that he transformed into the buck. And frankly, with the way this comic seems to think evolution works, would any of you be surprised if he did transmogrify like that? Lucy wonders who they all are, and Jack says that they're teenage Neanderthal girls, which are then in turn joined by a bunch of guys too. They all attack the buck and corner it, though it manages to knock a guy over its head. They are no match for that monster. Monster? It's a buck! Or does Lucy think that Bambi was a horror movie? They should give up. No chance. They haven't eaten anything but berries in 3 days. Oh no! You know, for teenage cavemen who subsist mostly on berries, they look like they're in pretty damn good shape. I'd also question how they speak English, but I threw up my hands last time with the talking dinosaurs. Anyway, Wolverine manages to club the buck in the head and kill it. I am the best there is at what I do. Dropping catchphrases. What do you mean by that? Nothing. You mean killing. You mean you are the best killer. If that's the case, could you kill me? Or better yet, kill them. Please kill them. Actually, what am I saying? With this book, they'd die horrible, painful deaths, and they'd still be talking about how much it sucks that microbes have to die. So they start eating the raw deer meat. Yeah, that'll do wonders for the washboard abs, I'm sure. And Al comments that he always thought Neanderthals and humans would be enemies. Want to know what's even stranger? Yeah? Don't make fun of me. Too late. They're all kinda, not pretty, but what's the right word? Attractive. Good call. Attractive literally. Not about their physical beauty, about some kind of basic physical attraction to them. That's a natural reaction, and it's exactly what your ancestors felt.
This is the dumbest conversation I've ever heard.
Al thinks that's weird, but Jack says that it's not weird at all, and he'll explain. It's a long story, but it isn't the kind you can just tell. I think that's just code for, you suck at telling stories. Jack said he had to bring them to the dawn of mankind and the end of the Neanderthal, and they had to sit among them and feel the natural bond between the species. We'll get back to that in a second, but we need some more stupid dialogue first. Jack says he needed to show them instead of tell them about it, otherwise, you would have understood it and labeled it something like another attempt to blend creationism and evolution. What? No. It's because having experiences is always better than being relayed experiences through communication. Where the hell did that come from? But because you're showing me, I don't just understand, I believe. Believe? You're experiencing it! That's not belief! It's happening! It's fact now! Well, I don't mean actual fact, because this comic is so full of half-truths and lies, so maybe it's just Shut your noise hole! You get it, fangirl. Fangirl? What? I feel like we're missing parts of this conversation. Words alone are about understanding the proposition. Words and pictures are about believing the truth. So you are saying that the only true path to truth is reading comic books? That's pretty much the word of God. By that logic, wouldn't silent films actually be the real path to truth? They're images in motion combined with words. Either way, much as I love comic books, if there's actual truth to something, the medium is irrelevant as long as the message is conveyed. You're just being a snob. Or do you really want to tell me that All-Star Batman and Robin contains more truths about the world than the Bible or any other religious text just because Ass-Bar has words and pictures? Or do I require a picture Bible before I'll learn the truth? Jack instructs Al to start moving the time machine forward in small time increments so they can watch the Neanderthal tribe. Apparently, over the course of 28 years, they don't actually move from that one spot. And I would remind you all that since the time machine doesn't move, they're still in New York, which is utter bullcrap, since the earliest human civilization that we know of came from Africa.